What's the exit plan?
I gave myself 5 years. Our brain is lazy. Our brain is wired to use the least amount of energy.
How much money did you need at the beginning to start up?
Set the launch party, order the inventory, and that's it. You have no choice but to go forward now.
Melinda, welcome to the Startup Show.
Thank you, thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
Yes.
Fantastic to have you here. And really, really happy to hear you and your story about, what you're working on now and your business. That's going to be, obviously this is a startup show, so everything's going to be about business. But thank you very much for coming onto the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
How's your day going?
It's going good. It's
Yeah.
going good. Had to run some errands, but it's going good.
You're working at the moment, aren't you?
Yes. So I work remotely in my American job, and I start at 4 p.m. here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's 4 p.m. until when?
Probably around 11 p.m. if I don't have meetings. And then, so tonight I have a meeting, and so I'm stuck there till 2 a.m.
Wow.
So I'm going to start a little bit later. I'll start around 6, and then I'll just go through until 2 a.m. Fun times.
I want to know a bit more about your role, but
Yeah.
you're also you're also building a business on the side, a
Yes.
side hustle.
Yes.
How's that go? What is that called firstly, and what does it do? What do you do?
So I own a streetwear line called Ancient,
Ancient.
and I tell stories through selling t-shirts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if people want to find you online, or if they want to see these t-shirts, where can they find you?
Originalancient.com.
Okay.
Or my Instagram handle is original.ancient. And then we'll get into why it's not ancient, but it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is it not? I'm curious.
So I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I was trying to sign up all the LLC documents, all this stuff, and I wanted ancient.
So you're registered in the United States.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm registered, and I've got all my paperwork like I'm $1 million company.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get there. And I went to go get my website, and the website was like $300,000 to buy the domain.
Someone's already taken it.
Yeah, and no one is active on it. It's just there. There's some stuff on there, ancient.com.
Ancient.com, and no one's using it.
No one's using it.
That's a prime domain that you have been cheated out of because someone just wanted to park it.
Robbed. Yes. Website real estate is very popular. I didn't know.
It is.
Yeah. So then I thought, okay, ancient this, ancient that. I'm like, okay, this is the original ancient. And also Instagram was taken. And so now people are confused. They call it original ancient. They call it ancient. Now maybe I might change it to original ancient. We shall see.
Maybe if you make a lot of sales, one milestone could be to eventually pay that 300,000 fee.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when it will become reasonable to do that, but I'm sure if you're big enough, it's just a small detail.
I've got to calculate how many t-shirts I need to sell.
Yeah, but by that point, your brand would have been really cemented as original ancient, wouldn't it? So it begs the question: is it even worth it at that point?
You just go with the flow.
Yeah. How is it go? When did you start?
I started 3 years ago. I started here. I was living here, so I moved from America to here. And decided to do a launch party here. I produce everything in America. All the cotton is American. The t-shirts are made there. It's very important for me to know where my manufacturing is coming from, and I have an eye on it.
Okay.
And the quality is phenomenal. And I also print locally in America. I've learned how to go print and do all that stuff. So launched here, did a great launch party, and then I realized, okay, I need to go back to America and start figuring and sorting this out. I actually need to get my hands on this stuff. And so, yeah, that's how it started.
So 3 years ago, launch party, you had some early prototypes, early printed t-shirts that you were selling?
So I had launched my first collection. I think we had 4 shirts or 5 shirts. One misprinted, so I couldn't launch with it. I launched it after.
Okay.
I've realized having your own business is problem solving, has nothing to do with plan. It's all problem solving. It's just who is a better problem solver.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so I started with 4 or 5. I did the original marketing content here, which is important for me because I want to tell the story of people from Mesopotamia. And yeah.
That's brilliant. And so since then, you did the launch, four t-shirts to start off with. How have you built it since then? So what's been the journey after that? So what was the next step?
Figuring things out. I learned a lot of things that didn't go well. I learned what went well. I started doing more designs, and just trying to figure out how to go forward. So I launched, it was great, it was hyped. People are excited, it's something new. You have everyone in your community supporting you. Okay, the second one comes out. Still, it's hyped, but now there's a few people less getting orders. So how do I get these people to keep getting more
Yeah.
and also raising my exposure? And that's been a problem I've been having with is I need to figure out how to expand my audience because I'm very focused on Mesopotamia.
Okay, so your audience, have you like an idea as to how big it is roughly? Because obviously, let's say you're wearing a t-shirt now,
Yeah.
many people wear t-shirts every day. There is a big market for people buying clothing.
Oh, yeah.
But the niche that you've put yourself in, fantastic for
Yeah.
story and building the brand around. However, the challenge then becomes the problem to solve is how can you make it relevant for people that are not specifically there? How can you increase your
Yeah.
audience size? So what you're thinking there, how could you
So
do that?
actually, I have a lot of Ajnabi friends in
Yeah.
America, non-Middle Eastern, and they always have the notion that it's appropriation because we have this really big like political pull that if you wear anything that's not of your culture, it's appropriation.
Okay.
And so they're very hesitant to buying stuff that are, I mean, there's a lamasu. These are on I'm wearing right now, it's three queens that are Mesopotamian based. And so it's just learning how to start designing things that are a little bit less targeted just for a specific person and more broad with an essence of something. And
Mm.
so I built my audience and I built that loyalty and I built a small community who has seen Ancient grow into a proper brand. And you need those people. These are the people that help you thrive, that are your sounding boards. When you're discouraged, they will send you messages or phone calls that were like, okay, this is why I'm doing this.
You got your diehard
Oh,
fans.
oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing to see how some people see the vision that you see. But now it's a bit hard to start expanding it to just like a mass appeal. So that's where I'm transitioning right now, which is
That's
good. Year 3. I did my research. I knew it takes about 5 to 7 years. It's not a get rich scheme. It has to start with passion.
so it's really
Absolutely has to.
so you're thinking on a really long time horizon. Like if
Oh
you were
yeah.
thinking like, let me do this for a year, make my money, then move on to something else. You're not thinking like that at all. You're thinking, how do I build this brand? How do I develop the audience?
Yeah.
How do I develop the product line? How can I engage a larger amount of people over a period of time? So
Yeah.
that in itself is good. Are you on your own doing this, or do you have any partners or?
No, it's me. I do everything. I do everything. I have help. I love my friends and bless them. Oh my gosh, because I drive all of my friends crazy with designs. Do you like this? What is this? What do you think of this? How should I do this? And I have two really important people in my life, two really good best friends that from the beginning of like conception, when I was going through how to go about introducing Ancient to the public, I had them as like they're just they're my pillars, and I still have them as my sounding boards. But yeah, physically I do everything myself. Yeah, I do all the tags, I rip them off, I sew in my tags, I go and I punch another tag, I fold them, ship them.
That is a
Yeah.
challenge
Was
and a half.
printing. I printed this one myself, screen printing. So it's nice. You've got to learn every aspect of your company before you start growing bigger. I think it's very important.
Yeah, you're on the front line. Then, eventually when you have hired help, you can explain to them on a level where, because you've
Yes.
been there, done that, you know exactly what's required. When you speak to them, you're speaking the same language. It's not
Yeah.
a completely alien topic to you. But you're doing all of that and you're working a full-time job at the same
Oh,
time.
I work for a startup as well, for a software company. So it's rough.
So
It's rough.
that's not like a normal company where it's established. As a startup, it's like there's
Mm-mm.
so many small things you need to do. It's not
Yeah.
like I'm just in this role and that's it. I do my work and that's it. With the startup, there's never ending tasks.
No, there it's it's like 12, 15 different project management every single day. It's just your brain is always going and going and going.
That must be a challenge to do that and at the same time trying to build your brand.
Yeah. It so the first year that I did Ancient, I was not working when I launched it because I was living here, and that's a whole other conversation. Um, and then I started working when I moved back to the States. And then year 2 and now year 3, I'm drowning in my career and really, I mean, it's a lot. And so I've fallen behind on Ancient. It's not where I would like it to be, but I come here, I get my energy and I get refocused and I'm not married, I don't have kids, so I have the time.
Yeah.
So I want to take advantage of that time that I have.
And like eventually in like a year, 2 years, 3 years, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself still juggling between a main job and and
No,
building this, or do you
no.
eventually hope
I've
to
got an
be all
exit
in?
plan, God
Yeah?
willing, God, inshallah.
What's the exit plan?
I gave
Can you
myself 5 years
Okay.
because I studied, I read a lot of successful streetwear lines, like how they've been able to transition. Um, and my 5 year was I will be manufacturing here in Iraq, and specifically some village that I have just fallen in love with, and exporting out of here and doing it full time.
That's
My whole thing is to lift up creatives that are here. And so it's very important that I work with people from here as well.
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. The journey to get there, have you thought about what that roadmap looks like? Obviously, you're working now, potentially to learn a few things, but also maybe to sustain yourself while you build your
Yeah.
main project.
Yes. So you make sacrifices. You do. I don't go out with friends a lot in the States. I'm not out in the restaurants. I don't go out to the bars. I can't spend extra money. For me, it's like, okay, do I do this project or do I go out and entertain myself?
Yeah.
And so I'm very, very focused. You just have to find friends who are in that same zone as you.
Yeah, they're going to support you. They're not going to make
Yeah.
you feel guilty.
Or they're sitting there with you as well, and we're cooking together, and so we can work together. We're not wasting money. You just have to be very focused. If you can stay focused for a couple years in your life, the reward is unimaginable.
And especially like in the years of your life before you've got, commitments like family, you've not got any children yet.
Mm,
That's very important. So you've got that time, but then also developing those skills like problem solving, because
yeah.
that's what business is. It's, everyone's got an idea, they're building something. You might be, the t-shirts and the branding around that, but others have got other things. It's all about solving problems because
Always.
everyone's got a plan, but then when you actually get into it, there's some details that you need to figure out. So it's that having the focus, the time to be able to
Mhm.
focus on it, the actual, mental capacity to be able to be like, okay, I'm going to try and solve this.
Mm.
But then that comes in the learning, and you're learning about different brands that were successful,
Yeah.
taking from them what works and trying to apply it to your concept as well. So it's all just from all angles.
Yeah.
And on top of that, a job. That's just
It's rough.
and you want a social life. It's too much, but
That's why if it's a business, so in my situation, when I started Ancient, I wasn't after money. So it does take the stress off a bit. And it lets me enjoy this ride. And I was very well prepared of what happens. And I started here in Iraq and I did my launch party. If you want to learn problem solving skills, you do it here.
yeah.
Like nothing went as planned. I'm in marketing back in the States, so I've done events, I do all this brand strategy, all this great things, and everything typically goes as planned. Because if not, you can sue the company that you're
Yeah.
contracted with. I'm here and not one thing went right. And so I quickly learned what problem solving was and just staying calm. There's a solution for everything, and anything that you put out, especially when it comes to marketing, which has completely taken off so much pressure off of me, is what you put out into the world is the first sight of what you put out.
Yeah.
People have no idea what you did behind the scenes. And so why are you stressing?
Yeah, it's true. It's like an iceberg, isn't it? They only see the tip of the
Yep.
iceberg, but there is so much ice underneath
Yeah.
the surface of the water, and that's all of the work that you've put in. But they only see like, what you've
The
produced.
final draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of work and sacrifice. But I'm guessing so you're working in marketing, your full-time job's
Yeah.
around marketing.
Yeah.
Would you say there's a lot of transferable skills from that to your project?
Oh, yeah.
Has it helped you, build your brand because
Yeah.
of everything that you've taken from there, the transferable
So
skills?
I'm good at storytelling. I've always been a very emotional person of like deep feelings and those types of things. And then I'm like all my life I'm like why am I like this? I'm very sensitive. Now I'm able to turn it into again the storytelling aspect of it. It's worked well. It's worked wonders. But the business strategy side of it I was not too strong in. And so in the future, God willing, I can find a partner that will balance that out and be able to push Ancient more. But having the
I've got
job
some
that
ideas, by the way.
we can sit and talk after off the record.
Yeah. Private behind the scenes.
Yes,
No
with
one's
an
gonna know
NDA signed.
the strategy for the 5-10 year plan.
There you go.
$100 million in 5 years.
I would
Let's do
love
it.
to. Love to. Then we can hire a whole community
The whole
here.
country.
There you go. There you go. So with the job that I have, I've been with them in September will be 3 years. Again, startup. I'm the only one in marketing. So anything that I have that touches marketing comes through me.
You're doing everything essentially then. You're doing
Everything.
their
So
Instagram, their
we don't do social media. I just don't
okay.
have the time for it. It's more strategy based. It's online marketing, SEO stuff.
Can I ask what niche they're in, what industry?
So we do, it's very exciting. Prepare yourself. Non-emergency medical transportation. So our software routes, say, a taxi company who has a bunch of vehicles to get passengers, patients to their doctor's appointments.
Okay.
Because the federal government realized people who rely on government health care are eating up a lot of our money to go to the emergency room because they don't have transportation to just go to the doctor. And so they said,
Okay.
all right, we'll start funding people to be able to go and take a taxi to get to their doctor's appointment. Well, our company helps sort that out for them. So it's very efficient. So you're not wasting miles or kilometers. Yeah.
It's a different niche. So like let's say the marketing thing, the marketing avenues that you would use for that versus original ancient, slightly different. But would you say there's some
You apply
overlap?
the same skills. I've learned so much, and so that's another thing as someone who wants to start something that doesn't have that opportunity of like someone to fully fund them. The person that really has to do something from scratch. It's okay to be working. I'm learning so many skills from my other job. I'm using some of that money that I get from my salary to be able to fund my project and learning for free
Yeah, you're
because
learning on their time. Like
yeah,
they're giving you projects with, a real paycheck at the end of the month. It's keeping you safe, secure. You're going to be okay while you're building this, but at
and
the same
applying
time,
it.
they're teaching you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of skills I didn't know I needed that I've been able to apply, and it's the business aspect of it. Because in my career job, if I'm not showing results, bye.
Yep, you're
Where
no
in
longer
mine, I'm
needed.
like,
Where's the value? If you're no longer valuable, then you're just an expense that they don't
yeah,
need. You're made redundant
yeah,
almost because of that. And it's the sad reality, but that's when you're employed for a company, they look at it from, how much value is she bringing into the company
of
versus
course.
how much is she taking out, i.e. your salary and any benefits that
Yeah,
come
you're a
associated.
service. You yourself as an individual, your brain is a service that you're offering.
One of the best ways to mitigate that risk is to create your own project. And
Yeah.
with Original Ancient, it's going to be, but I've got a really, really interesting question that I would personally love to know. Knowing what you know now about starting and building your brand, Original Ancient, if you had to go back to the very beginning, would you do it again?
I would do it 100 times over again with the same knowledge that I started with, not with the knowledge that I have today.
Okay.
Absolutely, because there's so many things that I've learned, and there is nothing like real world experience. There, you cannot learn it on an ebook, you cannot learn it on a class, nothing. To actually have to go and start building character. So every situation that you go through, you etch another piece into your brain and you're building on to who you are as a being. So there's no rush for me again.
The knowledge that you had at the beginning, I mean, what made you actually take the first step? Like a lot of people have
Oh,
ideas. Everyone is romanced by the idea of
yeah.
becoming an entrepreneur, but not everyone has the willingness to actually take that first
Yeah.
step. So what made you take that first step and how did you do that?
All right. So I've always loved fashion, but I've always been a tomboy, so streetwear. I worked for a very big company in America called Nordstrom. It's a department store. I don't know what you guys have in England. There's
We've got Marks and Spencers, we've got
starts
yeah,
with an H.
Harrods. We've got
Harrods.
Harrods, we've got H&M, but I think H&M's
Just a store, not a
yeah.
department store. Anyway, so I did an internship with them, did really well, loved it, and I was going to become a buyer for them. I always wanted to go into the fashion thing. I'm Middle Eastern. My parents said, absolutely not. You're coming home. You need to go finish your college. I was going to get my master's degree.
That's a challenge as well, by the way, managing their
Yep.
expectations for your life, even though
Yeah.
it's your life. But
Yeah. I
they
had,
like to exert their influence where they can.
yes. I knew getting your college degree is fine. That's great. Did not care to get my master's degree at all. Still not, I mean,
And you're not
I should,
are you using, what did you study?
I didn't use any of it. I studied first accounting and then I got out of accounting because I just sucked the soul out of me. And then I did HR. And so I just graduated with business and HR. And then I did my MBA after that.
Before you studied, how old were you when you made that decision? Like when I studied chemical engineering, I was
Oh my
17 when I
gosh.
chose that.
I didn't
But
choose. I didn't like school. I was not a school person
yeah,
at all. I hated school. And so I just did the easiest route and I liked business and I was good at it. I flourished in operations. So What were we talking about?
We were talking about how did you get started? Like, what made you take that
Oh,
first step?
I got to tell you this.
Yeah.
Okay. So, long story short, always been involved with, I always loved like streetwear fashion, blah, 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 blah. And then had it in my mind that I want to start something because I can't go into like the details of what triggered, but at some point I said, we don't have things that represent us. You can go wear Nike, you can go wear Adidas, you can go wear this. There's other streetwear brands that are for their community, and we didn't have anything specifically to Mesopotamia that I was aware of. Now there's a lot, and it's freaking amazing, and it's a lot of Middle Eastern countries are. I mean, I look to them as a path into what I should be doing. And then I moved here. I was a teacher when I moved here just to get in, and I'm not a teacher. It was awful. I felt bad for the
What
poor
were you
kids.
teaching?
I was
English?
teaching English to kindergarten kids, to 30 kindergarten
But
children.
that's okay.
I felt
It,
bad for them.
no, but think about it like this. You'd say your English is quite good. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you're a 7, 8, or a 9 out of 10. And 10 out of 10 is someone that's, let's say, studied, got a
Yeah.
PhD in English. Let's say you're a 7, 8 on that scale. 0 is someone with no, like a kindergarten.
Yeah.
So your relative knowledge to them is, let's say, 7 points more
Yeah.
than them. You're going to teach them something.
Oh, yeah. I just wasn't a good teacher. I didn't have the patience.
Okay, that's
bless
another
them.
thing.
Yeah,
in
that
terms
was
of the knowledge
yeah.
transition, then it's there. But in terms of the delivery, maybe with the
Yeah, the
patience,
delivery
that
wasn't
might
the
have been
best.
challenging.
Yeah, but so I mean, there's at the end of the day, there's a goal I want to get to, and I just need to. I left my career in America, my marketing career there, and said I'm gonna go back to Iraq, and the way that I got to do it is be a teacher. So did that, then worked for 2 marketing agencies out here, local ones, and I didn't work as an expat. I worked as a local.
Okay.
Many months, many times I didn't get salary. They would just withhold it. They would make excuses.
And you've got rent to pay, you've got expenses to pay.
Yeah.
But on the other side, it's not coming in. So
yeah, and
another problem to solve.
Yeah, and I was able to learn a lot about how hard it is here. I hear people complaining. A lot of people from my community have left as well, and there's really no laws set in place that are followed for the workforce. And so it quickly humbled me. And then I'm like, I got to do something. I was here for 4 years. The last year I wasn't working because I just couldn't at the place that I was at. I couldn't find work. I was again marketing. It's not. There are agencies here. I don't speak Kurdish. I don't speak Arabic. I only speak English. At that point, I was speaking a little bit of Arabic, so I'm of no use. And so at that point, I said, "Let me start it." I was a bit hesitant. I go back to the 2 pillars that I had. My 2 best friends. One of them had already started his own business, and he was already in the dumps of it and like doing all the dirty work to get it started. And I kept postponing it. And he said, "Announce your launch date. Publicly announce it. Set the launch party. Order the inventory, and that's it. You have no choice but to go forward now." And I did that, and I started, and it's very important for me to be able to build something in the West, take the money, and circulate currency in my own community here and start hiring people here because I want them to have a good experience. I want them to be able to come to work happy.
So it's not just the product that you're creating. It's
Product is just a tool.
It's also giving them the opportunity here to experience employment on a level which is, consistent. They're going to get paid when they're going to get paid, when they're supposed to get paid, but also the environment. You can bring the insights of, working in the United States to here, working conditions, maybe benefits like that, which might not be afforded to a lot of people that are working here at the moment with the companies they're working for. I've got a question. We're going to break a little bit, but I've got a question that I want to leave on.
Okay.
You're obviously a US citizen.
Correct.
Do you think someone who is born and raised here could start as well? Before you answer, we're going to go for a little break. So let's leave on that cliffhanger for now.
There you go.
Welcome back to the Startup Show. We left on a little bit of a cliffhanger, Melinda.
Yes.
Let's get everyone on the edge of their seats. Why not? That's what we're about here. But we're giving some startup insights to people listening, people that have just maybe started or they've not yet taken that first step. That first step is very important, isn't it?
It is. That's all you need is a first step. After that, it's an avalanche effect.
A lot of people, they just live in their minds for a while. Oh, this idea will be fantastic. I can do X, Y, and Z. And they live in their minds for weeks, months, even years without taking action. Whereas if they just took action as soon as they had that idea, and then that snowball effect, then they solve this problem. Then they realize what's missing there. And then, oh, I need to learn this, or I need to get that, or I need to meet this person, and blah, 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 blah. Before you know it, a year of progress has happened. And
It's the
you don't know
fear
where
of
that time's gone, but
fear of the unknown. Our brain is lazy. Our brain is wired to use the least amount of energy. And so why am I going to work myself up to something I have no idea about?
especially if you're comfortable. Like, let's say you've got a stable job, you're romanced by the idea, but you're like, yeah, I'd rather go out with my friends on Friday.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, maybe I can just stick with this and I can put that idea to one side. I'll do it next week. And then next week becomes next month. And then next month becomes next year. But when you started, it made it, the way you described it, it made it seem like your back was a little bit against the wall. You didn't want to rely on somebody else giving you employment or giving you money. And you couldn't, because there was times where they weren't paying you.
Yeah.
And so you, with the support of your pillars, your friends, they gave you that push in the right direction to take action. And here you are now.
It's an expensive hobby. Here you are now.
Yeah. It takes sacrifice.
It does. And again, knowing and doing the research ahead of time, it cuts the surprises and the discouragement of when you are faced with something.
But then we don't want to fall into the trap of analysis paralysis, where you're just researching the whole time.
Yep. And not
80% passive learning, 20 or less percent active learning. You want to make it 80% active learning and then 20% passive, so you're actually taking action. But the question before we went away for the break is, obviously you were born and raised in the United States, or were you born here? Or
born and raised United States.
Okay. So you're a US citizen.
Correct.
People listening might think you might have a little bit of privilege because of that, and you might have some knowledge or expertise that you got from there, which has enabled you to start and build your business. Is that necessary? Or do you think people here could use we've got the internet now. There's lots of information out there. So it's not like there's something like you only got from Harvard University, which is inaccessible. The playing field's been leveled in the sense of information. Yeah. But in terms of actually starting the business, do you feel that had much of an impact? I know you're registered there, but if you had to do everything here, could you have done that? Started from complete scratch?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get a little philosophical. We are from the cradle of civilization.
Yes, we are.
Literally, we taught the world how to exist. One, take that power back. Again, I'm speaking from a very privileged mindset, but there's so much that can be done here. In the West, it's just, for me, because I'm born there, I know the laws, I know the rules, I know the government buildings, how to get there. It's quite difficult for me here. Is it possible? Absolutely. There's a very successful streetwear line in Baghdad. Everything is made here. I think they might import their shirts. I don't know, but they screen print here, and they're very successful. Young group of kids. Not kids. Young guys. It's been done before, but they knew how to do it, and they pushed through it, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. And they're doing wonderful now.
I think if you have the will, so there's a saying, it's like, if you want to, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
If not, you'll find an excuse.
Yeah.
And maybe people might think that they are inhibited in some way. So they might listen and they might think, I can relate to you, but I also can't relate to you because maybe you're born and raised in the States. That person is different from me. And so I'm going to use that as a reason not to take action. When in actual fact, you've just given an example of, a company that was started in Baghdad, and they have, local employees, local materials. I'm not sure, you're not sure either, with suppliers, but it's possible. And I'm sure there's many other examples of that happening as well.
I will say, in the West, I was having a discussion with my friend the other day. In the West, we're raised that we can do anything. I mean, we're raised in a very capitalistic society.
Especially in the States.
Oh, yeah.
There's a transition between England and in the UK and the US.
Nothing is impossible. Set your mind to it and you'll do it. So when I'm being raised that way, my brain is wired to always try to find a solution to something that I want to do. It doesn't matter what I face. And so there are some mindsets that we're raised with that are very different. There's good and bad to it.
We have, so in the UK, it's less, it's more closer to the US, but it's not I'd say
intense.
US is like, you are raised with the belief that you can do anything.
And we should be doing everything.
Yeah. And in the UK, it's closer to that, but here it's even further away from that. And From the time that I've spent here, I've noticed that there's a bit more of a prevalence, especially in the older generations, for people having a fixed mindset,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
believing like they are born and they've got the skills that they've got are enough, or rather they can't develop beyond maybe their existing skill
Mm,
set. They might believe they can, but the willingness to do that is not as high as, let's say, someone with a growth mindset who's,
mm,
oh, I've got this problem. It's a problem. How do I solve it? If I don't
yeah.
know, where can I find out? Or who could help me solve it? Or what do I need?
Mm,
And it's like when you have that mentality, and it's very, very important in business. Otherwise, you'll fall at the first hurdle.
yeah. Oh,
If you don't
yeah.
have that
Oh, yeah.
resilience, if you don't have that problem-solving attitude, even if they're small problems, but you develop that muscle, and then
Mm-hmm.
like nothing. Like I've been in business for over 7 years now. You've been 3 years.
Yeah.
The problems don't finish.
No, they keep getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, but they're different problems.
Yeah.
Like
It's
my
fun, though.
problem.
I get excited off of it
Yeah.
now.
And it actually engages you on a level deeper than any employment can ever engage
Oh,
you.
yeah. Oh,
Like on the
yeah.
weekends, and you'd wake up with an idea. Like you're like like a lot of people do take pride in their employed work,
Yeah.
and they can really buy into it, and they're fantastic employees when they really give it their all. But if it's your own baby, which is your
Yeah.
business, you've not had any children, but you have, in the
Yeah.
sense that
This is my pride.
original ancient is your child.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Ancient.
ancient. Okay.
Ancient. We'll
I'm
get
just
to
saying original.ancient so people
yeah.
know where to
Yeah.
find you
Yeah.
on Instagram.
There you go. There you go.
But ancient is okay. After this, we'll develop a plan. I want you to buy that ancient domain,
We'll get it.
$300,000.
Let's go.
And if anyone wants to donate,
No, we got
speed up,
better things to donate
speed
to.
up that time horizon. Yeah, and there's more.
If there's an investor who doesn't
Yeah.
want much from the company and to give me 300,000, absolutely.
Silent investor,
Yeah.
just to get ancient.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, no. So if someone's starting out here, what advice would you, let's say, give them based on your 3 years of experience?
Do it. It doesn't matter.
Take action.
You just have to take action. It doesn't matter the playing field. You have to take action. Is it easier to start something up in the West? Yes. Is there so much more competition? You really have to figure out why you're unique there, or you will drown.
Whereas here, it's more like not the Wild West, but it's like it's still developing.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
like any idea could work with the right.
With the right way to express it for the local audience. Just do it. That's it.
Do you know how much money did you have to start up with? Like, how much money did you need at the beginning to start up? Do you remember how much that
So
was?
I'll tell you exactly what it was. So I spent about, I think, a little less than 2,000 on the launch party. The place was free, but I had to pay for the bar or
Okay.
something like that. Or there was something.
So launch party, $2,000.
Okay.
Free venue, maybe pay for the drinks.
There was
and-
something that I had to pay for that added up to that.
Okay.
Yeah. Or yeah, I don't know what it was. It's been quite some time. And then I spent around 3,000 initially for the marketing content. I was new here, not new here, but I just it was the initial launch of my brand, and I had to make sure I worked with really good professionals to make sure it was perfect, because I'm setting the tone for who I am. And it was great. It was a whole team, and it was wonderful, and we did so much stuff. And then the initial inventory. So I think it was around 8,000 or 9,000 for the initial inventory,
Okay.
because I needed to have a lot of stock.
But you got that from the States.
I got that from the States. Yeah,
If
yeah.
you found a way to get it here, do you think that would have been even cheaper?
It'd have been way cheaper. Way, way cheaper.
So that someone, if they were to follow your exact footsteps here, it would cost them less than $5,000 maybe?
I mean, I would spend 1,000 on the marketing,
Yeah.
not 3,000.
Okay.
That was a mistake on my end. Just being naive and just wanting to make sure that
your first
it was
time.
perfect. Yeah. 1,000 on the marketing to make sure it's like premium. Launch party, you don't need to do it at a bar like I did it. You could do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And again, if you're from here, you have the connections. I don't know how to get to Linga to converse with people to find what I need. Or I took the first offer to create some props, and there was no negotiation. And then stock, I mean, I'm sure you can get shirts here for $1, $2 blanks.
Yeah, you just need to know where to find them. And again, it comes to connections, it comes to knowing the land.
Yeah.
And that's probably something that someone who's born and raised here
has the advantage of.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like one up on you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, it's using your resources, like your resources, your knowledge, your experiences are different from someone who's here. So I think, yeah, I think that's very inspiring. I think, again, it comes to taking action. It comes to solving problems. Like, let's say you've only got X amount of money to start with,
Yeah, you can still
or
do it.
yeah,
I have so many friends in the States that started with like their marketing was done on their phone. Their group of friends helped them, and they printed a couple shirts at the print shop and started with that, and that's all they started with. I don't have the luxury to have a group of friends that are young in their 20s that have all the time in the world to go and do marketing stuff for me. All my friends are busy, married with kids, running their own businesses, working, or just freaking tired.
yeah, they've just like over
Yeah.
there, it's like there's no time to do anything other than those things.
Yeah, and so when you're younger, you have that opportunity to get your friends want to physically do stuff like that as well. So it's it's much easier. Take advantage of it.
So let's say there's a lot of people here that might have an idea that they want to take action on, but they might not know how. But by one of them starting, they can bring some of their friends who might have more spare time than the average friend that you might have in the
Yeah.
United States. So that's a resource they could use. They could all pull together on a shared idea towards it. And
Yep.
I think because you're a lone founder, aren't you? You
Yeah.
had support at the beginning with the event and maybe along the way. I've got a co-founder, so that's like a really, really good support
It
for me
helps.
in
It
that
helps.
we're in the we're in the trenches together, i.e.,
Yeah.
we are figuring out the same problem at the same time with this complete same context.
Mhm.
We've been with each other for more than 7 years actually. Before that, we were already doing projects together, and that has been a very, very
Oh
big
yeah.
support.
Oh
And
yeah.
on your own, it's just like you're only holding yourself accountable. Like if you don't want to work today, there's no expectation.
Yep.
And I mean, it's not necessary, but like, do you feel like it would have really been helpful throughout those 3 years if you had more people that you could have?
Oh yeah. Initially starting it, no, because it's such a creative project and
Mm,
I have this really, really detailed vision in my head of what I want it to become. And so I there's no way, there's no amount of money. I mean, again, this is just me not being a business person. There was no amount of money that somebody could come to me and be a co-founder with or to invest in it with. Now that I've laid out my brand and there's some foundation there that I can play off of, I would be okay with having a silent investor who brings the operations, who brings the business and who brings the network to help me push forward logistically.
yeah,
But then I keep all visual, like vision stuff and creative stuff. So there's ways to go about it.
yeah,
But there's also the way that I found support is back in the States, at least now that I've gone back. I have another friend. He's an entrepreneur, he's a young entrepreneur, has a full time job. He's a marketer as well. And we meet twice a week, once a week or twice a week
like sort of not mentoring,
after
but like
work.
brainstorming together,
Yeah,
or
he does his own job. He does his own business, and I do my own business, and we bounce ideas off of each other.
okay,
So there's still that some little accountability as well, even though it's not inside my business.
mm,
Because it's also hard. Like, I would have loved for one of my best friends to be a business partner, but he was also busy doing his own thing, and I can't take away from that. So I just use him for free consulting because he's my friend.
yeah,
He can't charge me.
yeah. Okay, but like now, for example, you're working and you're building ancient.
Yeah, there you go.
I want. I got it right
There you
now.
go.
No,
Took a few
I
times.
dropped the original. Okay,
Original.ancient on Instagram.
okay. But now you want to go all in. Do you know what it's
Yeah.
going to take to get there? So we mentioned at the beginning maybe the audience, trying to make the audience of your brand a bit bigger. Do
Yeah.
you think that's the limiting factor for making, getting even more sales so that you can be like, right, buy main job, let's make my side hustle my main hustle and go all
Absolutely.
in.
It's exposure. I know my content is amazing. And I don't mean that with a big head.
You need that belief.
Yeah, absolutely. And my storytelling is there. The designs are there. When people wear it, they wear it with so much pride. So I know I've done something right with the emotion aspect of it. I'm in the process of redoing my website and making it look like a professional brand. I care about the user experience now on the website. So there's these things again where I have an unlimited budget on my career job to say, we're hiring a user interface, user experience person. I've learned little things from him. I'm like, okay, now I got to implement this into my own because people don't see it the way when I get into my website. I initially created it and then my friend helped me like fix it up a little bit better.
Yeah, it's
The
like
user experience was so bad, but I care, so I'm going to fight the war to make a purchase. People don't care.
it's like at the beginning, you don't know what you don't know. It's
Oh
like
yeah. Oh
we watch films sometimes, and if you've got no experience in, film editing or, recording or anything like that, you just see it for the story, and
yeah.
maybe there's some action scenes, and oh, that actress was nice, or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But then after you've had a chance to actually create a film, edit it, the audio, the lighting,
Mm-hmm.
all of the rest of it, and then when you watch the same film, you're like, I'm noticing the camera angles now.
Yep.
I can see these small
There you
details.
go.
And that's you now, after having seen what's possible with the UX, the
Yeah.
user
Yeah.
experience on your main hustle, or well, your current main job's
Yes.
project. You're seeing like, after I've seen that, I can't unsee that anymore. How do I take those insights and implement
Yep.
them in my?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Yeah.
gradually, it's getting better.
So that's my number one thing is let me fix the user experience. If I care to grow, so I've got all these people, I've got all this fly coming to this honey, these flies coming to this honey, but the honey is not there. So let me fix the website. Let me make sure that is working well, and then go into start. I never wanted to do it Instagram sponsored ads, but I need to. It's part of the business.
Yeah.
So really starting to invest into spreading my brand through ads. You have to. So just putting a budget on there and saying bye to that budget.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be. I mean, marketing is literally to make aware. Like, that's what it
Oh yeah.
means.
Oh
So it's
yeah.
like, you could have the best brand in the world, but if no one knows about it, you're never going to get any sales.
Yeah, I still have people from my own community that have no idea about ancient. I'm like, hold on, how? Because
You've
in
been
my head, it's
screaming
my
about,
whole
yeah, because
life.
that's you. That's your like
Yeah,
perception. But
but
then
nobody knows.
outside of your perception, it's like everyone else, they can't,
Yep.
they don't know about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, marketing's key. But like, I've got this question as well that I need to ask.
What?
If you lost your job, your main job now,
Okay.
and you couldn't find another job to replace that,
Okay.
what would you do to Ancient to make it so that it's okay, you can live and build and progress? Like, do you know what that next step is?
Oh, I would be on it 8 hours a day.
8 hours a day, so that's time commitment.
Full-time commitment. Again, going back to marketing stuff, SEO, blogging, writing, interacting online, trying to go to shows that have stuff for t-shirts. We have a lot of farmers markets. Start selling there. I mean, literally do whatever I can to start pushing the product. And I don't know why I don't do that yet.
I was going to ask you
I
that.
know.
I was like, what's stopping you from doing it now? Obviously, you're working full time.
Comfort with I already have a job, so I know that I don't need to be living off of this money.
Okay, question. How flexible is your employer? Firstly, do they know you've got a side hustle?
Oh, yeah.
Are they okay with it?
Yeah.
They're not thinking she's cheating on us or anything?
No, and there's been times where I've had to go pick up t-shirts during work hours. And
They're okay.
As long as I get my work done, then I'll work at night and get my stuff.
So
I'm very responsible when it comes to that.
That's good. So they're like outcome focused. They're like, they don't look at your hours and be like, oh, she's not done her 12 or 8 hours.
Because we work more. I'm at a startup. They can't.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So as long as they've got that understanding. But then let's say now, if you wanted to tell them, can I drop my hours a little bit? Can I work part-time, so that they wouldn't be receptive to that?
No. I've got a big girl job. I can't.
So yeah, we need to, that's going to be that's a limiting factor. That's a bottleneck. That's a risk to your business growing.
It is. And it's also,
because you're always going to be in this, like, unless you have like a stroke of luck, maybe after this show you get like 1 million additional orders, who knows? But
so the thing is, I don't put focused time like I used to. If I put an hour a day of focused ancient time, I could get so much done, to a point where, and then also cut my spending budget where I could hire somebody here part-time. Or even work it out if it's a college student, or someone who's just graduated college, who the salary is a bit more feasible.
Yeah.
I could hire somebody full-time, not really make them work full-time because I don't have 40 hours a week of ancient stuff, but having them do the things that I just, there you go.
But this is you're thinking creatively now, because I put you in this mental
there you
space
go.
where you're like, right, what would I do if this actually happened? Like, how would I solve this problem? Because you've got that problem solving mindset.
Yeah.
And already you're thinking, right, I want to get someone to work on this alongside me. I can't pay top industry salaries, but what I can do is, there's a skilled, let's say, university student who is going to be a little bit more under market in terms of how much they would cost. I could bring them on board. And so, yeah, let's take a little bit of a break.
All right.
Welcome back, Melinda.
Yes, glad to be here still.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the Startup Show again. and we were just getting into some juicy details about what it would take to get your business to the next level.
Yes, yes.
And you mentioned time. Time's a limiting factor, obviously, working full time. How could you said focus time, like actually dedicating some time. How could you craft more out, like right now, if you were to do that from tomorrow? What would it take?
Just
How would you do it?
dedication.
So if like, could you wake up earlier, like an hour earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah? What time do you wake up now?
So I'm up with this. Okay, hold on. So
Up with
my
the sun.
American
So
routine is very different than my Iraqi routine
yeah,
because also I'm
times.
working late. My American routine, I'm up with the sunrise. It's flashing in my eyes, 5:36.
Yeah.
And I have my slow morning because I still want to just feel girly and
Enjoy
just be
life.
before I go and just hustle and grind.
Yeah.
And it's not, I hate it. But yeah, so I have my slow morning. I might go for a walk and then I usually start around 8:30. Go get on the computer. I'm there until nighttime.
So when do you work on Ancient? Like right now?
Typically on weekends,
Okay, so 2 days a week.
max,
How many hours?
couple hours.
As in, do you have a social life?
Not really,
But like,
but I'm also a lone wolf.
so if like someone on the weekend said, "Oh, let's do this, let's do that," would you be more likely to say yes or no?
I'll say yes, but then I'll like typically my Saturday morning because that's our Friday. I like to go hiking and then I go to my farmer's market and I have my breakfast and then I'll start my day, whatever it may be, go see family, something. And within those couple hours, I also do some ancient work. If whatever, like you said, I have to reschedule, I'll do the ancient stuff at night. So I have the freedom of that. But on the
Okay.
weekends, I do try to put in some time.
So like in a given week, would you say more
4
than,
hours, 3 hours.
oh, that's not enough.
I know it's not enough. I'm tired. I'm
That's like a
tired.
tenth of the hours that the bare minimum hours. Like I put at least 80 hours a week in my full time, it's my project, it's my education company. And
Good for you.
if yeah, but like I had to get to that point
Yeah, it's
to begin
rough.
with.
It's rough.
I didn't have the luxury of a side hustle to begin with, to
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
honest. Like I was like, I'm doing this. I'm going all in. Even though I did mitigate the risk before I started, I got
Yeah.
pre-orders with schools. We do educational programs at schools. So I was like, these schools are going to pay for it. Months ahead, we got the contract signed.
Nice,
They will
nice.
100% pay. So it's like immediately I've created that situation where I can get paid for offering a service. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
we built from there, my partner and I. But for you, you've got obviously your main job, which I think is a really, really good example for people that want to take the plunge but don't want to go all in from day one. They
Oh,
want
yeah.
to
Oh, yeah.
maybe start by dipping their toe in the water just to check how
Yeah.
if it's warm enough to put the rest of their body in
It
and start
it becomes a
swimming.
crutch at times. It does. It does hold you back. But again, I have the luxury of time.
Yeah,
Again, I'm not here to make $1 million overnight. I knew that it's going to take time.
yeah.
And so again, I'm also enjoying it.
If it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah, there's no one way to do something. And I think in today's society, everyone's just trying to get rich quick.
Because
You can't.
since this comparison culture, like if I don't use Instagram personally, like if anyone's
Good
checked
for
my
you. Good
Instagram,
for
I've
you.
got 0 posts. I
Yeah.
have a family Instagram which I used like years ago, but I don't use it anymore. But if you're on Instagram the whole time, you're just scrolling. You're seeing success after success, and then
Fake success.
an ad on how to become successful, and then
Yeah.
success after success, and then everyone seems to be. Obviously, it depends on your friends and depends on your
Yeah.
feed, and the algorithm. If you're on YouTube, what kind of things get recommended to you, and so on. But it's true. Everyone feels like it's taken you, let's say, 3 years to become an overnight success in some people's eyes. It's taken me 7 years more.
Mm.
The background work, the skills you're learning, the small details it takes. And I think that's a really, really good lesson to take from this, in that good things come to those who are willing to wait
Oh, yeah.
and are willing to put the work in.
And consistent.
But
There's so many when I was doing research about fashion, there's so many people that came into it in their 40s, their 50s, or 60s. Very slight ones, very minimal ones I read that were in their 20s and their 30s. Things take time. And if it's not a get rich scheme overnight, one, you have to hurt people
yeah,
to get to that way. You're taking from other people. This is just my thought. 2, you don't have the experience to repeat it.
yes,
So when you're truly taking the time to learn how to be an entrepreneur, solving the problems, going through it at a normal speed, at a normal rate through life, you're adding layers and skills to you. So you can I'm in my 30s. I was 32 when I decided to start it, and I didn't think I was late. Now I know in my 40s, I might be on New York Fashion Week doing high fashion. I might not be doing t-shirts.
You're building your skills, as you're saying.
Of
It's like
yeah.
you, let's say, might have started your entrepreneurial journey from the age of 32, but by the time you're 40, that's 8 years of experience.
Yeah.
That's 8 years of problem solving, of
Yeah.
learning, of trying and seeing what works, what doesn't work, moving a little bit to the left, a little bit
Yeah.
to the right, meeting new people, seeing new things. And it's just that constant journey. It's what it takes. And
Mm.
those people that are, let's say, starting and becoming very successful from the ages of, let's say, 45 onwards, I think the
Mm.
person that owns, correct me if I'm wrong, those big brands like Gucci, it's like an umbrella company. I'm not very into fashion.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like Louis
It is, it's a
Vuitton,
group. They're
yeah,
groups. Yeah.
LVHM or something. I forget
Yeah.
the name. That person started, I think, when they were 57.
There you
But
go.
then again, that's probably not his first venture. He
Mhm.
probably did many projects before, probably for many years,
Oh,
even
yeah.
maybe even 30 years. But that experience, that skill set, that knowledge, that awareness honed in on that
Mhm.
final, let's say, project is what it takes.
Yeah.
And again, we talked at the beginning about the iceberg. People only see the end product.
And what you
They
give.
don't see
Yeah.
that work. And there is no shortcut to success.
Mhm.
You have to put the work in.
There
And
it's
if it's not
time.
just the time, it's the work on yourself. Like you today, would you say you're different from
Oh my
you
gosh.
3 years ago?
From 3 months ago.
Yeah.
'Cause it's just a constant it's not an exhaustion of, again, what people see on social media of, like, the self-help, self-improvement, capitalistic view of how you should be growing as a human. It's just I'm always open to being a better person. I'm always open to learning. That doesn't mean I need to learn everything overnight. Just being open to do that, your life completely changes.
Do you think being an entrepreneur has helped you outside of your project?
Oh, yeah. Everything, everything.
Like in what
It
ways?
just changes your view on life. You respect work.
Yeah.
You really respect work, and you respect people who choose the hard path. And you start seeing things. As weird as it is, it's slowed down my timeline for life.
Yeah.
And it's made me okay with where I'm at because I know it takes the steps that it needs to for whatever it may be in life. Not just nothing is overnight. Nothing.
Yeah. Like for me, like personally, I 100% think I've become a much better person
Oh
since
yeah.
doing it, because it's like I wake up early naturally and I want to put in an effort and I want to keep my body fresh so that I can
Hmm.
concentrate. I don't eat bad food
Oh
because I feel
yeah.
like it's going to make me sluggish.
I can't. I can't. I don't remember the last time I had fast food.
Yeah.
If I eat garbage food, I can't sit and focus.
It's like it costs you.
Oh
It
yeah. Oh
costs you
yeah.
concentration, it costs you energy, it costs you time if you maybe need to nap. Like there's some really heavy foods for lunch I completely avoid now.
Mhm.
Like a lot of rice I don't touch
Yeah.
because
Oh,
if
I
I
can't do
do,
that.
that's the afternoon gone. But some people, they don't care and they're not aware of
Yeah.
that, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
fine. But like if you really want to put everything into it, you're optimizing from left, right, and center.
Oh
Your
yeah.
sleep,
Your
your
sleep is
diet,
so important.
even your friends. It's like I like to be around people that encourage me, that motivate
Oh
me,
yeah.
that give me a net positive energy, as
Yep.
opposed to I've been around people that are just constantly negative, constantly complaining.
I
They
can't
really pull me down.
I physically cannot be around negative people anymore. I cannot. I just look at them and I feel bad for them that this is a life that they've given themselves. There is so truly there really because there's so much power in words, and I'm like, "Oh, I thought that's so cliche." Oh my god, no. There is so much power in positivity. I'm not talking about fake positivity if there's a fire in front of you. "Oh, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay." No, of the I can do attitude and not focusing on as I will judge somebody based on their road rage.
Yeah,
Like
actually, that's
I'm
interesting.
at that point now. Like if you have road rage, I no, can't do it. Can't do it.
It's like me, let's say 10, more than 10 years ago, I would be a bit more aggressive with people that
Yeah.
cut me off driving. Whereas now I'm just like,
I can't
I'm
waste
not,
my energy.
I'm not going to give them the satisfaction or the rent for free in my mind.
No, because my energy is so limited and I
Yeah.
need to use it. My
Yeah.
time
They don't deserve it.
and as an entrepreneur, I think when it clicked for me to be a success at my career and to know the worth of myself for doing ancient was when I realized how valuable my time is.
Yes.
Like literally monetarily as well. There's things where I want to do something, hang out with people, even to that point, and I'm like, okay, this is going to cost me a couple $100 when I could be working on something instead of paying someone to do it.
It's true. It's true. And I don't want it to become like mechanical, but it's true that you end up thinking a little bit in that way. And it's like, okay, how much more value could this add to my life
Oh
versus
yeah,
takes away? And obviously with friends and family, you're like, you blur the lines a bit.
you
You're
have to.
human.
You have to.
But at the end of the day, it's true. It's like you're making a sacrifice. And it's like, what do you sacrifice for? If this is, I need to finish this and me going out or me doing this, it's going to make this project take twice as long, three
Yeah.
times as long. Am I willing to pay that price? And it's like, but this is the thing. Most people at the beginning, they don't realize that time, money, and energy and knowledge. But like time, money, and energy are your main resources.
Oh
At the
yeah.
beginning, when you're starting out, maybe a lot of people, they don't have money. Maybe they don't have a lot of energy, but they have a lot of time
Mhm.
and they have the willingness to try and create more
Oh
energy.
yeah.
And then with that, they can then develop it so that they can then trade their money to get time back.
Mhm.
Because that time commodity, that time resource is the one that once it's gone, it's gone.
Oh yeah.
Money comes and goes. And knowledge, you can pay someone who's studied or worked in X like area, for example, marketing for 10 plus years.
Mhm.
They can bring that knowledge and energy and time in exchange for your money.
Oh yeah.
But it's like at the beginning, it's like it's tough to make those decisions. And as you grow, and I wanted to ask you, by the way, if you hire anyone, because that's a key next step. It's like, okay, you don't have the time because you're working, but you may have the money. So you could maybe pay someone
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
get some of their time. Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We brought up a little bit on break. Just having this conversation, it just clicked to me. I'm like, why am I not doing this?
Yeah.
I think it was I felt bad because I didn't have something that's full time, but
But like if you're transparent, you just be like, look,
it's not full time work. But
yeah.
I'll pay you full time. That's not the issue. I just don't want to get. I don't want to get the person bored.
Yeah,
I
but
think that's my own little kind of fear.
so this is the thing for you, like you're going through different stages, and one of the stages is obviously your problem solving. You're trying to figure out what you know, what you don't know, and one thing
Yeah.
is how to manage employee expectations. You're going through a different stage now where you're a lone founder. You're doing everything yourself. You're wearing every hat. You're wearing marketing. You're wearing sales. You're wearing, product design,
Manufacturing.
everything. To now where you're like, right, my time is limited. I do have money. I can spend that money to get someone else's time
Mm,
and expertise, but that's unfamiliar for you. You're in
mm.
your comfort zone doing what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
How do
yeah,
you go
yeah.
out of your comfort zone into this development zone? We need to learn about employee incentives, what's going to keep them motivated, what's going to
Mm,
stop them from doing, slacking on the job. That's a different skill set. And
mm.
that's an interesting one to develop. And once you crack that, the world, the
Yeah,
world
yeah,
is your
yeah.
oyster, because then you're, let's say for the sake of discussion, you and I will have 100 years, if all goes well, on this earth. But when you employ other people, you get their time as well. And if you employ
True.
4 people, you can do 4 times the work that you would do in
And
a
this.
month
Yeah, yeah,
in a
yeah.
week if you had
Hmm.
4 other people maybe supporting you. They were appropriately incentivized, they were appropriately trained, and they were appropriately also, able to actually do the
Yeah,
job.
absolutely.
And that comes from you as a leader, making the tasks clear.
Mm.
So, do you have any tasks that you maybe think about delegating at the moment and finding the right person to help you with?
They're just so simple. It's just busy work. Even like just organizing my Google Drive. I have like half a terabyte of stuff on there.
Let's say, for the sake of discussion, your time is now worth, for example, $100 an hour.
Yeah.
Could you pay someone to support you with that for $20 an hour?
Yeah.
So that means you're saving yourself an hour,
And I
and
get 5 hours out of it.
and you're saving yourself an hour and $80,
Yeah.
because you're paying that person 20 and you're saving yourself an hour's
Yeah.
$100, for example. I don't know your hourly rate, but like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's a
I
saving
don't have
there.
one. I need to make one actually.
Yeah, but like that, if you think it in that way, because you're thinking that way when you're spending time with maybe friends or family, like, oh, this is going to cost me
Yeah.
$300. Whereas think in the same way when you're potentially getting someone on board to
Mm.
remove these, what seems to you as trivial, simple tasks, organizing your Google Drive.
Mm.
You're giving someone an opportunity to work, and at the same time, they're giving you an opportunity to breathe.
Yeah, true.
It's win-win.
True. And I can clear my mind of that. Then I can put some other projects together that they can learn from and do those things. Yes. I already have a checklist of things I need to do after I leave here.
Melinda,
Thank you very much.
I think we can talk for hours, and I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to helping you outside of this. But for now, it's been an absolute pleasure
Yes,
to have you on the
yes.
Startup Show.
Thank
And
you.
again, for anyone that wants to find Ancient, where do they go?
Originalancient.com.
Okay,
And then my IG handle is original.ancient.
Melinda, wish you the very, very best,
Thank you.
and
Thank
thank you
you.
very much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.